This is a Kirkendall Barrett presentation, darling.
You can touch it if you want.
Ladies, if you want to meet a man, check your storage closet.
Come on, Kendall. Take off your shirt and go camera shopping at Best Buy.
Good shirtless, not bad shirtless.
Yeah.
Well, it was gratuitous.
Yeah, it was.
I like a good grizzled man sometimes.
A lifetime of Hallmark.
Well, hello, everybody. It is your favorite day of the week. It is time for another episode of A Lifetime of Hallmark, where we talk about movies on both Lifetime and the Hallmark Channel and try to make sense of them. I am Les Kirkendall Barrett. Hello, Jason Bowers.
Hello, Les Kirkendall Barrett.
And hello, Kurt Fitzpatrick.
Hello, Les Kirkendall Barrett, and hello, Jason Bowers.
Well, we are in the thick of things. It's holiday party season. Things are ramping up. And I can't believe that I am going to say this, but I hated this movie.
It was so bad.
I'm surprised. Les, I thought you were going to like this.
No, I wanted to like it so bad. You don't know
gonna...
how badly I wanted to like it.
I just thought, like, out of the gate, it felt like they were trying to go for campy. Like, they were trying too hard to make it campy, but it needed, if they were going to do that, it needed to be a little bit bitchier.
Yeah. Like, I wanted to get my hands on this movie and fix it. I could fix this movie.
Well, the irony is at the end of the movie, there's something that happens that is really the cue that they should have taken in writing the script for this movie.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Well, this movie wasn't made for me. I'll tell you, there was nothing about this that appealed to me, interests me.
And I got all the jokes. I am an avid soap watcher. I love my soaps. I love my nighttime soaps. I don't know
all the ladies.
I love an old lady. I love an old lady on a soap.
You don't know all the ladies, Kurt? They were in this?
No, I didn't. I don't know who the dark-haired woman was.
Well, that's Linda Gray.
Ellen.
She was on Dallas. Sue Ellen.
I never watched Dallas.
What?
I never watched Dallas. And then I didn't know there was a blonde woman that was holding up pretty well.
Donna Mills.
Donna Mills.
She was a Nazi.
She's 80 years old, right?
She is?
She's like 79 or 80.
Wow.
Well, Dolly Parton was talking about how certain, plastic surgery, she says it settles in. You don't know how well it's going to settle in. She was for Kenny Rogers. It took about 20 years for it to settle in. Okay. Well, anyway, for her, for Donna Mills, I recognize the name Donna Mills. What was she on? Like Falcon Crest?
Knots Landing. How dare you?
Never watched it. Never saw it.
How dare you?
But I didn't know all the ladies. I know Morgan Freeman and Loni Anderson.
Morgan Fairchild, you mean?
And
Morgan Freeman was donning a blonde wig.
Yes. Morgan Fairchild, Racine from Paper Dolls.
Loni Anderson.
Anderson.
And yes. I knew
Jennifer from WKRP.
Jennifer, yes, of course. She was also in Stroker Ace. I knew the rest of the people.
And Paige from Knots Landing.
Well, I never watched that.
I watched all of the show.
And I refused to look up to see who they were. I was not going to give them the time.
Well,
actually, it was a passive-aggressive attack on you, Les, for making us watch this movie. I said, I'm not looking up who these people are. I'm just not going to know.
You know who I bet you did look up?
Christopher Adkins.
Blac Chyna news.
Doing a piece of China.
China.
I'm talking China.
The Blac Chyna report. Here's Kurt Fitzpatrick.
Okay, this is from dailymail.co.uk, but this was all in many different news outlets. Blac Chyna and Tyga settle their years-long custody battle over son King Cairo 11, with the once feuding exes agreeing to joint custody. So they've been going back and forth on the issue of custody and financial support for 11 years. Oh, no, sorry, for their son King Cairo 11 for years. But the once feuding exes have settled their differences and have come to an agreement for joint legal and physical custody of their preteen child. TMZ reported on Friday. Both will also have the right to make decisions about King's health, education, and general welfare. Although Tyga requested full custody of their son, Chyna will have custody of her son from Friday through Monday, and then Tyga will take over for the rest of the week. Under the new arrangement, Tyga will not have to pay child support to his ex. The court also ordered each parent to not speak disparagingly about the other around their son. And both stars have to enroll in a program that will monitor the conversations between them about co-parenting. Chyna dated Tyga for 3 years after meeting on the set of his music video Rack City in 2011. The exes welcomed their son King Cairo Stevenson in 2012 and were briefly engaged before calling it quits in 2014. Chyna was seeking reimbursement for the money she spent on the custody battle, as well as child support. In October, Chyna reportedly turned to selling clothes, purses, and shoes to stay afloat amid the pricey court proceedings, which has netted her around $178,000 so far. At the time, she stated that she could not keep fighting for custody of her son without financial help from Tyga. The cash-only singer, born Angela Renee White, also said that the local Contigo rapper was only allowing to see her son for 24 hours each week. That's pretty much it. It goes into like the background here, but it's we've got the news down here.
Well, that's good. Good for Angela. I guess this is part of her turning her life around, you know?
Yeah. I wonder if part of what drove her to stop doing the OnlyFans and try to improve her image was related to this custody battle.
I could see that for sure.
So she would look presentable in court.
Well, not just look presentable, but actually be
right.
Yeah. Like I think, maybe a concerted effort to be a better parent and be more involved.
And especially if her son is 11 now, that, that's a crucial time for kids. Mm-hmm. And especially, I always wonder, people on reality shows, like on The Real Housewives, and even Blac Chyna to an extent, people who have older kids, I always wonder how the kids get along in school, because other kids can be assholes, Yeah. And I always wonder if, the kids are like, I saw your mom, my dad saw your mom's OnlyFans and stuff like that,
Yeah, and even in the kinds of schools they're going to be in, where there's a bunch of other offspring of famous people, there's like a bit of a caste system built into that, depending on how famous your parents are.
Right. And how ratchet.
Yeah.
I heard an interview with Alen Zweibel, one of the original writers of SNL, and he's written different things. And he was talking about how he wrote the movie North, was actually based on a book that he wrote, North. And so Rob Reiner was the director.
Yeah.
Roger Ebert did that infamous review where he said, I hated this movie. And Alen Zweibel said his son was bullied for this. And he said his wife was even kind of harassed. People would say, I hate it.
Sure.
Who is bullying somebody's son because of a review from Roger Ebert? What a weird way to give a sick burn to a child.
People, yeah, but some
you know what I mean?
But
nasty. It's such a it'd be one thing if the kids thought the movie were bad and they said that, but giving the kid hell because Roger Ebert gave it the thumbs down. That's just so funny to me.
Roger Ebert had some power back in the day, I'll tell you.
Roger Ebert all the kids watched Siskel and Ebert back in the day. It was Sesame Street.
I watched
and Mr. Rogers and Siskel
Did you really,
and Ebert.
Kurt?
Yes. I watched Siskel and Ebert when I was a kid, up until when it was, till when I was an adult, and it ended because they died.
Thumbs up.
Yeah. Big fan.
Well, let's get into this.
Okay. Ladies
My
of
heart
the
is hurt.
80s, a Divas Christmas.
Yes. So, we're in Beverly Hills.
But right out of the gate, by the way, I was already annoyed. The establishing shot of Rodeo Drive is outdated.
Yes,
It's an outdated shot because there's a famous menswear store called House of Bijan that's on Rodeo Drive, and it moved to the other side of the street. This establishing shot had it on its old side of the street.
Yes.
I was already annoyed.
And then they showed Malibu, and they just showed all the different, LA haunts.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're at a photo shoot, and it's a fake winter scene with fake snow. The director's being a dick and ordering people around.
You dick.
Oh, yeah.
You dick!
The grip is like, whatever. And
Director is hot, though.
oh, he was very hot.
Very hot.
I did see that. From the beginning, there was an unattractive man working on the production. They had to kind of shoo him away.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
he
this was
looked a
not-
little bit like a straight Bruce Valanche.
Well, I knew this was a movie either made for, I guess, for like, I don't know, who's this movie made for? Is it for women and gay men?
Pretty much.
Because it's
Mo-
when he
yeah,
came on the screen.
I think
You know.
what they realized is that, like, all these women are famous for these shows that were targeting women audiences, but those shows always had, like, sexy men on them, which is what would really draw people in, but then people liked the larger-than-life characters, so they'd stick around. But I think they realized that people were going to tune in just for these women north of 60, so they're like, okay, we need, like, hot young people in here, too.
Yeah. Yeah. So we find out that that their show, the soap opera, The Great Lakes, is coming back for one episode. And then they showed all the different scenes, like different soap opera scenes with all of the different ladies. And it was all slapping scenes,
Yeah.
which, holds up because they love to slap people on soaps.
And that's what this movie, Ladies of the 80s and Divas Christmas, needed more of that kind of energy.
Yes.
Because it was the whole thing was like a later seasons episode of Tom and Jerry where Tom and Jerry were getting along, so it's kind of boring.
Wow. Yeah. It was a love fest.
So then we're in a limo and we see Racine from Paper Dolls, otherwise known as Morgan Fairchild.
What's Paper Dolls? Is that a show?
It was a nighttime soap opera about models.
Oh. When was that on? The 90s?
It was, in the 80s, it was Morgan Fairchild and Lloyd Bridges.
Oh, God. I don't even have a recollection of that one.
Yes. And Nicolette Sheridan was in Paper Dolls as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
How long did that last? I've heard of it, but I don't remember it at all.
A year.
Okay.
It started out as a made-for-TV movie with Joan Collins as Racine. But then when it became a TV series, Joan Collins had already gone on to Dynasty, so they replaced her with Morgan Fairchild.
Got it.
So she called her assistant, Alec Mappa.
Mm-hmm.
And
why the fuck was Alec Mappa wearing those super loud, jingly reindeer ears for no reason?
For the entire movie.
Every time they would cut to him, there'd be like weird Christmas stuff in it, like and he's her agent or whatever. But like, I get if there's like a Christmas party, but it didn't seem like that. It just seemed like he was inexplicably wearing these reindeer ears, and it had to have been a nightmare for the sound guy that every time he moved his head, it would make a jingling noise.
Yeah.
That was irritating.
So Racine is on. She's talking to her assistant, and we find out that she has a secret, but they don't let on what the secret is yet. And he's setting up for his holiday party. And we also find out, because there's a lot of talking in this, So we find out that she had won 5 Emmys and and 2 Tonys on Broadway.
Yeah.
And she's like, I hope they haven't heard about the rumors of my situation. So then the next scene, we see Abby from Knots Landing on the phone, Donna Mills. And the person who she was talking to, the woman, that's her real daughter. That's her real daughter in real life.
Oh.
Who she adopted.
Okay. Well, they wrote it into the movie that her character adopted 5 kids from war-torn countries.
Right. Right. So, yeah, that was her adopted daughter, who she adopted at, 50. Like, it was a late-life adoption.
Wow. Okay.
And so she's talking about how she's in a fight with Juliet and how, because of their fight, Juliet isn't coming back.
Juliet is Nicolette Sheridan's character.
Paige from Knots Landing.
I'm confused.
So we see Paige, and Paige is talking to her son, and she's basically like a mogul. She's talking about her shoe line, and she has all this other different stuff going on. And we find out that she's mad at Abby, who, by the way, on Knots Landing, these 2 characters hated each other. And so she's mad at Abby because she left her in New York and moved to LA.
Okay.
So then we're on the set, and we see this food truck. I thought it was an ice cream. It was an ice cream truck, but they said it was a food truck. Drives
Coffee
yeah.
truck. Yeah.
Nell,
Mr. Soft.
Nell gets out of the car. She hugs Alex, the producer, and he hired her to be the director. We find out they're old friends from college.
So I get a little annoyed anytime you're watching a movie that is made by people that actually make movies and television, and there are these just wild leaps in logic in terms of the way something's filmed. For instance, this was a soap opera, which everyone in the soap community, everyone that watches them know that they have no budget. They're they look cheap. This they rented a giant mansion in Malibu to do a live episode on Christmas Day. And if you're filming on location, it's not conducive to doing a live show because you have all the different rooms that you need to set up in such a way where you can move really fast and get everything you need.
Right.
But they saved money because there really wasn't anybody on the crew.
Well,
there was only a couple people.
Yeah. And also, they said that the reason they were filming in LA was because even though the soap used to film in New York, all the actresses all lived in LA now, which would be fine, except for the fact that then they all kept trying to leave or were making it seem like it was a really far journey for them to leave this house. Where also they were staying in the house that was their set.
Yeah,
amongst the props.
I didn't know what was going on at some point. I was like, what are they doing? Are they, is this a TV show? What? It didn't seem like
it's like a reality show.
Right.
No, they had a script.
Yeah.
Apparently it was it was like a live scripted show. But for some reason, while it's a live broadcast, they yell, cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Massively confusing.
Oh, we find out that Alex, the producer, was the little kid on the show.
Yes.
And
I'm not sure about this. I think that actor may have been on Neighbours in Australia because when I looked him up on Instagram, it one of the suggested accounts I follow is the Neighbours account.
Okay.
Which would explain his Aussie accent.
So then he leaves. Later, Nell walks in the room and sees his butt, and she's looking at his butt.
That's ass.
And he catches Nell looking at his butt.
She tells him he shouldn't have quit acting, and we never revisit that. He doesn't act again.
Yeah, we find out he was an actor and used to be on the show. It seemed like a real perfect opportunity where he would have needed to jump in and be in a scene in the show.
Right.
No, we didn't get to that.
No.
She's like, she shamed him for not acting anymore.
Oh,
and then she has to pee. She says, I have to go pee.
And you know it's Lifetime because she mentioned the word pee.
Isn't she is she kind of like hot for this guy? And she's talking like that. That's not going to get, anybody hot.
You don't know what he's into.
Because she was supposedly a dork.
Well, I guess that's true. I don't know what he's into.
He might be into some sick shit. Who knows?
Right.
That's true. I can't discount that.
and then she brings in a Christmas star that she made for Alex. Nell does.
She reminds me a little of that girl who was on the White Lotus, the one who's the assistant.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love her.
Yeah, even with the like this, because that girl had a bucket hat. This girl had the beanie. Like they both had very like lesbian leaning clothing tastes.
Yes. A little butch.
Right.
Okay. So,
and they're attractive. They're both attractive, but they have to grow on you a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
in my opinion.
Well, both of those characters have somewhat of an exhausting personality, which is part of where the growth comes in.
Right.
So then we find out that Paige isn't coming, but Jennifer shows up.
I don't know who's this. Okay.
And she's dressed like she just came from Safari.
Yeah, this is Loni Anderson. I'm confused because I normally write down the character names, but there were so many like big names in this movie that I couldn't keep track of them, so I just wrote their real names down.
Loni Anderson. I wrote a full name, Nicolette Sheridan.
Because I'm calling them by their 80s nighttime soap names.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, but I don't know. I can't follow. Loni Anderson, Nicolette Sheridan, Morgan. And I don't. Donna Mills. And why can't they get Linda Carter? I always thought she was hot.
Linda Carter was not on a nighttime soap.
But to be fair, neither was Loni Anderson.
She was on Melrose Place in the 90s, though.
She was?
Yes, she was on Melrose Place, and Denise Richards played her daughter.
Wow. Well, but this is ladies of the 80s.
True.
Ladies of Sturker Ace. That's what she was in.
Sturker Ace.
Loni Anderson looks. No, should I say this?
Say it.
Loni Anderson looks like somebody going as Loni Anderson for Halloween.
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Although part of that,
which I mean,
because there was, as I was watching it, there was something I was like, there's something a little off, and I don't know if it's just like, having work done or whatever. I couldn't figure it out, and then the thing that happens later in the movie, I was like, oh, now she looks more like Loni Anderson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so we find out that Loni Anderson, the reason why she was dressed like she'd come from Safari is she was on Celebrity Survivor with Lisa Vanderpump. And so then we see Sue Ellen, and she drives up. Linda Gray, and she calls her husband, Christopher Adkins. Now, Christopher Adkins and Linda Gray played lovers on Dallas.
But he was like her much younger lover, right?
Stripper. Pardon?
He was much younger, though, right?
Yes. Christopher Adkins from the Blue Lagoon.
Right. And Heaven? Was there some movie called Heaven?
He played a Chippendales type dancer on Dallas, and he had an affair with Sue Ellen.
Yeah.
So she called him, and he's like, hey, you forgot your credit card at a place that you stopped, and it was a burger joint, and they said that you spent $25. And she's supposedly like this health guru.
Yeah.
And so she's like, no, I didn't buy anything there. But then she had like a burger and fries and a Coke on her seat.
Do you think that there was a version of this script where it was like just a little bit edgier and we find out that her character had an eating disorder and they realize like that's a little dark for this like lighthearted movie we're trying to do?
I could totally see that.
She was living as a fraud. You know.
And she said she had to get ready for KetoCon.
I like Christopher Adkins' blonde hair. I had blonde hair when I was a kid too. It didn't stay as long as Christopher Atkins' hair is gone.
Well, you could have that blonde hair too for number 33 at CBS.
Long blonde hair.
You could buy that hair. You could buy that. You could buy it at Just for Men.
There's a show called Botched. I've seen.
Yeah. Oh God, I love Botched.
Oh, Botched is. Who's that? Who's the one guy? Michaela. There's some guy.
McHale?
No, there's some guy who like he has lips done, so he's got these giant lips, and so he puts lipstick on it, and then he got his ribs. He broke.
Oh, the guy that wanted to look like Ken, like a Ken doll.
Like, yeah. What's his name? It's like Michaela or something.
I forget, but I know exactly who you're talking about. And his lips are giant, and he wanted to look like a Ken doll.
And he had his like ribs broken in, so he could have his really tiny thin waist, and he's trouble breathing, but he says it's worth it.
His lips were like Goldie Hawn on The First Wives Club.
Yeah, and he's got fake teeth.
Anytime I see clips from that show, it makes me so uncomfortable because it reminds me of like, those baking shows where there's like a competition and they're trying to like match the thing and like people take big swings in ways they shouldn't and it just looks just hideous, the outcome. I feel like that's what these people are doing to their own bodies. They're like, well, I did this one thing, now I want to try this other thing over here, now this other thing down here, and it's just nuts.
No, it's unpleasant to look at. I couldn't look at. I had to close my eyes.
Oh, I've seen some faces. Living in LA, if you live in LA long enough, you see some things. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've seen some faces. I've seen some boobs.
They're bringing Barry Manilow out every opportunity, every Christmas special, but Barry Manilow's out. And he looks, my mom couldn't remember who Barry Manilow was. And I said, how old do you think that person is? And she said 40.
Who, Barry Manilow?
Yeah, she thought he was 40.
Oh.
He's 80.
Yeah, that would be a hard living 40.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he looks, a lot of work was put into this, but he looks younger.
He looks younger than 80, but he does not look 40.
No, he doesn't look legit 40, but he does look younger. But then hearing him in an interview, he sounds older. They cart him out. And then Cher came out. So my mom wasn't remembering who Cher was. I said, how old do you think that person is?
Don't you talk about Cher.
She said 35. She thought Cher was 35.
Oh. Don't you badmouth Cher.
Well, Cher's been on a lot of shows. I'm surprised you haven't been watching it. She was on the Graceland Christmas special, the Christmas tree lighting. She was in the parade, New Year's
She's
Day
got
parade.
a super terrible Christmas song out right now.
DJ, play my Christmas song.
So dumb. It's so dumb.
The number one song is "Rocking Around the Christmas Tree."
I know.
That was so nice for Brenda Lee, and Brenda Lee is still alive. 79.
Yeah, she was on the Winona Judd's Christmas special. There's a Christmas special on every night.
Yeah.
Rocking around the Christmas tree.
Number one.
Good. It only took her, how many 60 years?
5 years. But you should see these other songs. And I was looking at the top, the Billboard Hot 100. Andy Williams, top 10 hit. Burl Ives.
But what about the Queen of Christmas?
She's been number 2.
I bet she is pissed.
She'll probably eventually hit number 1. It is just based on, airplane streams.
Because I bet she's pissed. She's the Queen of Christmas.
She sent flowers to Brenda Lee, I think.
Oh, okay. Oh. Good.
You know what's number 3? Well,
what?
"Lovin' on Me" by Jack Harlow. You know that song?
I do.
No.
Yes. He's hot.
You do. It goes like this. All right, you ready? Okay.
Go for it.
I'm vanilla, baby. I'll choke you, but I ain't no killer. Oh, see, I rehearsed this before. I'm vanilla,
By the
baby.
way, I forgot to tell you guys.
Baby. Okay, never mind.
I forgot to tell you guys.
What?
I made a new friend in my neighborhood.
Okay.
And her neighbor, she's like, oh, because we were talking, and I was telling her about the podcast, and she's like, oh, my old neighbor used to be on Hallmark movies. And she said his name, and I didn't know his name, and then I was like, show me a picture. It was one of the guys. Remember we watched the one about the three brothers that were Santa Clauses?
Yeah.
Or no, the three brothers that had the baby?
Yeah. Three wise men and a baby.
One of the brothers.
Oh, right on.
Lived
I
in
like
my
that movie.
neighborhood.
And he stopped?
He lived in my neighborhood.
Well, those guys are all staples of Hallmark movies, so yeah.
Right. Anywho, so Alex was talking to Donna Mills, to Abby, and they were like, getting reunited, and we find out that his character was possessed by the devil and that got her one of her Emmys. And then she tells him that when they're done filming, she's gonna hook him up with some of her connections.
Okay.
So then Morgan, Donna Mills, and Loni all reunite, and they're being kind of bitchy to each other, like bantering back and forth. Like Morgan asks Donna, how many kids have you adopted at this point? And Donna's like, 5, same numbers of husbands that you've had. And they're laughing, and they're like, you bitch. And then
one of them should have slipped in the C word.
right,
Just to one up the other one.
and then
on the tracks.
And then Sue Ellen shows up, and she gets introduced to Nell, and they're all like, "Oh, are you two sleeping together?" to Nell and to Alex. And they're like, "No, we're best friends." And then one of them is like, "Oh, with benefits?" And they're like, "No, we're just friends." And then they're like, Paige isn't showing up. But then all of a sudden, Paige shows up. And Donna Mills is pissed. And then Alex is like, I had no idea she was coming. And he's happy because they're all 5 together. But Donna Mills is like, if Paige is doing this, I am not. And then Paige is like, well, I'm staying. And so the Donna Mills storms out.
This is another moment where I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. How did the writer and producer of this special not know that Nicolette Sheridan was going to show up? And if he didn't know she was going to show up, how did she find out where and when they were all meeting up?
Right. But I did like this exit line because she said, "Hasta la vista, bitch."
Yeah.
I don't remember which one said it. She can't do what?
You can't just walk off a show like that. They signed a contract.
Right.
They get sued for doing that.
Also, like, they wrote a script with all these 5 women in it, or 4 of the 5 women in it. Now one shows up, they're going to have to rewrite it to add one in?
Yeah.
It's like Kim Basinger walking off a boxing Helena. Didn't work out for her.
Isn't she agoraphobic now?
What?
I think Kim Basinger was agoraphobic for a while. I think so.
She doesn't want to leave her house? Well, I haven't seen her out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So then Loni Anderson is like, well, since she quit, can I have her lines?
Yeah, she wants to make it a one-woman show.
Yeah. And then Sue Ellen quits. And then Morgan quits. And then Paige then ends up quitting.
Lonnie's got a
Anderson.
funny line. I don't know if it's here. The thing about when she said she did a production of Love Letters with Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
The one thing that I did enjoy about this movie is the jokes about soaps weren't very funny because they're just sort of tired and we've heard them all before. We know there's slaps, blah, blah, blah. But there were some funny lines just about like the sort of lower level acting jobs that you're forced to take when you're on your way up or on your way down, such as the Love Letters thing.
Yeah. So then, go ahead.
Well, the Larry Sanders Show had a similar joke where the guy was, who was Jeffrey Tambor's character? Hey now, Hank. Yeah, Hank had done a production of Love Letters with Ruth Buzzy. The Larry Sanders Show did it better, but that's okay.
So Sue Ellen calls Christopher Adkins again, and he's like, "Why don't you stay? Why don't you go get a steam and stay?"
They should have had Christopher Adkins. Like, there's a character who has his shirt off later on. Christopher Adkins should have had his shirt off and been in been on like the Blue Lagoon Island, like with no explanation.
Right.
It didn't make any sense why none of these women were given a current day or, a potential love interest in this movie.
Right.
Because Christopher Adkins, his only scenes were him on the phone. He was not in a scene with anyone else.
Because they could have done it kind of like did you guys ever see Soap Dish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was like about, two former soap co-stars that were on the outs, and they could have done something like that and had an older gentleman come back.
Yeah,
that's the one where Kevin Kline's doing dinner theater while he's on stage. Yeah. He's like pouring people coffee,
and he goes out and cuts their food for one of them.
So then Morgan Fairchild is on the phone with Alec Mappa again, and we find out that she has no money because one of her husbands embezzled all of her money. And so then Alec is like, well, you know what, Morgan, just do it for the paycheck. Because she was worried because she's like, I'm going to have to fly back coach, and I don't want people to see me there. So meanwhile, Loni Anderson calls Nancy from Days of Our Lives. But I didn't get this either. Was she like her acting teacher or her friend?
Who? Oh, I think that was her agent.
I think it was her agent, yeah.
Well, it was Nancy from Days of Our Lives. And so...
You know the people. I don't recognize any of these people.
I didn't know her.
And so she tells her agent then that she's feeling insecure because she was the only person in this group who never got an Emmy. And then the agent is like, an acting career is about doing the work. So then Nicolette is talking to her son.
Cute twink, by the way. Cute twink son.
Oh, her son was very cute. And he kind of looked like Alex in a little bit. And then Donna Mills is talking to her daughter. And...
Is this where Linda Gray was like in the sauna or steam room or whatever, and she overhears Alex talking to Nell about how this is going to end his career or whatever, and so Linda Gray gathers them all, and so now she basically gets all the women who just walked off the show because they all hate each other. She's able to gather them and get them to pretend to get along for the holidays for this movie. Wasn't that what the game plan was from the get-go anyway?
That's what I thought.
Well, a woman has a right to change her mind.
And then this is where Loni Anderson used the line, I was once romantic with Rodney Dangerfield for Love Letters.
Yeah.
So then we have a photo montage.
A senior citizens holiday photo shoot montage.
Yes. Trimming a tree. making cookies, and they're playing a song. There's a song called "Ladies of the '80s,"
which is a real song.
Is it?
I know. Well,
Yes,
apparently,
it's a real song. It's a country song.
Well, no, I mean, like, was it made for this movie or did it exist before this?
It was a legit country song. Like it was
No,
on the
it
country
wasn't.
chart.
Really?
Oh, get out.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. I don't believe that. I'm gonna look that up.
Yes.
I mean, if Brenda Lee can have a number one hit at 79, I guess anything's possible.
Out of here.
GOOGLE.
Google. GOOGLE.
Oh my God.
Google.
Ladies of the 80s song? Look it up. Oh, yeah. No, wait, no, it says 80s song. Oh, the single ladies. Now, let's see. Ladies.
I would put ladies of the 80s in quotes.
There's a song called 80s Ladies. And
That's the
this is
song.
really? It's a
Mhm.
song written and recorded by, that's the same song? Recorded by country music artist K.T. Oslin. It was released in
that's the song.
April 1987.
This sounded more contemporary. Maybe this is a remake of it.
Yeah, because I remember the song. Because that was when I was living in Virginia, so I heard.
So
I
it
heard
came
the
out
song.
in the 80s as sort of a,
Yeah.
like, it's the 80s now, it's girl power kind of anthem.
Right.
Got it.
Big hair.
So it wasn't about this movie. Okay.
No.
Somebody on YouTube wrote a comment about the song that said, "I'm a man, but this song makes me want to cry. 72 years old. I'm just thinking about my own life."
Wow.
Good Lord. Yeah, that's sad.
This song made me cry. I'd be thinking about my own life too.
I'm crying about that comment. Woo.
Oh. So then Alex has no game because he calls Nell buddy.
Oh, that just is the worst. Somebody did that to me recently. All right,
A
buddy.
woman?
Yeah. All right, buddy. I was like, oh, who's that?
That's like, basically you're in the friend zone.
Yeah.
Which
So then
also
we-
shocks me, the friend zone, because I was on Facebook with some woman. Some woman was posting something like, "I don't like friend zone. How dare men say friend zone? Assume."
Really?
I think this woman's the only one who. I think her friend zone movement never took off.
Oh, she just didn't like the use of the term?
What did she find offensive about it? It was something like she didn't like how a guy would say he was in the friend zone. Like he would assume that could have like, a romantic situation with a woman, and I don't know, she had some kind of situation with it. I guess she didn't explain it too well.
Because when you're friend zone, that means that there's no chance.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be. It's still it's being used in popular current culture. So
Yeah.
So then we see Alex, and he's shirtless, and he almost looked naked.
Yeah,
Unnecessary.
Cute holiday boxers. No, it was necessary because nothing else was
Completely.
happening in this dumb fucking movie.
It was
is he
very
at the beach?
necessary.
Is he at the beach? What's going on?
He was
He did his
he
room.
was
He
in
did
his
his room.
office, which was a room in the house they were all living in and filming in. And he's just there in his boxers writing.
And
Yeah.
what does he do? He waxes his chest. He's not.
It looked waxed.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
And so he was typing, and they were doing like different like scenes, like reenactments.
Yeah, they would basically
Right.
he'd be typing and then they would cut to the actresses as he imagined the scene playing out. But they shot it with like a lot of Vaseline on the lens and strangely some very NYPD Blue style camera work.
Yes,
It's
and
very
then
like
they-
gritty
they-
handheld. Like it was so weird.
Yeah, it's like the Blair Witch Project.
And then they were making the soap opera jokes, amnesia, vampire bite, the basic soap opera trope.
Yeah.
Do people get bitten by a vampire on soap operas?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
on General Hospital. Of
General
Port
Hospital.
Charles.
Dark
There were
Shadows, I'm sure.
But isn't
That
General
probably
Hospital
happened on
supposed to be-
Passions.
Oh God, yeah, Passion.
But wait, but isn't General Hospital supposed to be rooted in some reality? Why is there a
Port
vampire?
Charles, and Lucy Coe was the vampire slayer.
Port Charles is somewhat rooted in reality, but this is also a show that one of their big storylines was that this evil man created a weather controlling machine.
The Cassadines.
Yeah, the Cassadines.
When Elizabeth Taylor was on the show.
Yeah, for Luke and Laura's wedding.
And remember, this is also
made it
the
rain?
show where Casey the alien crash landed in Port Charles.
Yeah. So rooted in reality on a soap is a very forgiving term.
Yes.
An alien landed.
Yes, Casey. He was cute. So then Morgan Fairchild can't sleep, so she goes to the kitchen, and Loni Anderson is making like hot wine.
Yeah.
And then Morgan is like, "Well, I can't sleep, so I'm gonna make an English fruitcake, which I've never had."
No.
I go to England a lot for Christmas. I've never had an English fruitcake. And then
change it this year. Have one.
Get yourself an English fruitcake.
I could.
They're doing what I do even today. I do the same thing. I reminisce about craft services.
Oh my God! Yes, that's totally us. We talk about that stuff all the time.
Yeah. So they talk about and she's saying it's free. I'm like, yeah, girl. Oh, now I'm into it. This is the one part that I could relate to.
And then they have a heart to heart. And then Nicolette shows up looking for cookies. And I'm like, wow, Kurt, these are all ladies after your own heart.
Yeah.
Like, looking for cookies, talking about craft services.
Ladies of the 80s, a Kurt Fitzpatrick Christmas.
Right?
I could have a May December romance with one of these ladies.
But she couldn't eat the cookies because they were a prop.
Yeah.
So again, they are living in this live television show set. But some of the stuff there are props that they can't actually use.
Hey, you can't move anything around on a hot set. So what are they doing? They better lock themselves in their rooms.
And then it's so funny because then they mentioned all of their diets.
I kind of have a hots for that blonde woman I was talking about, the one that things settled in well. Which one is she?
Donna Mills.
Oh, Donna Mills?
Yeah, she looks
I think Donna Mills is the one I'm going to go for.
Yeah, Donna Mills is 79.
Perfect.
So there you go.
A May December romance. I'm the young stud. We could hang out at craft services.
Oh, so then we find out that Nicolette Sheridan does infomercials as well. And they ask her, why did you show up? And she's like, because my son thinks it's a good idea because I'm a workaholic. And then they were talking about...
Again, her son thinks she's a workaholic, so he's suggesting more work for her?
I guess. I guess.
They mentioned Limelight, and Limelight was just in the news.
Oh, really?
Let's go to Limelight.
Did you see Limelight in the news?
No.
It's in the news.
It hasn't been Limelight for a long time, though.
No, but it's going to be transformed again. Limelight is... Hold on. It's... Our friend Peter Michael Marino just put this on Facebook. I can't find it now.
Are they turning it back into a nightclub? Because it's been like retail space for a while.
It's going into a theater. Okay, so Limelight will be reinvented again. Broadway producers plan to... It's right now it's a church, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's a church that's retail space.
The church is going to become a theater now.
Okay.
Oh.
What's going on?
Oh. That'll be a good theater.
We better wrangle up that news.
And for those that don't know, Limelight was a very famous nightclub in New York City.
In a church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Nicolette is talking about how it was hurtful when Donna Mills left. And then Sue Ellen shows up and they offer her a drink and she says, oh, it's too much sugar. And Donna Mills then says, I heard what you all were talking about because I could hear in the vent, like the
vents,
the sound went through the vent to my room.
Plus, I wouldn't be talking about somebody so loud. I mean, I would imagine they could probably hear it or they could walk in. It's not like they're not in the house.
So then we find out that Donna Mills has a huge social media following.
Yeah.
And so she wanted to film what they were talking about for content. Then we hear someone singing in the next room, and she's beating a nutcracker. And it's Nell.
She was using it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's using it to just pick it up and smash it on the nuts.
So it's Nell, and she's crying. And they're all like, you like Alex, don't you? And they're like, give us the backstory. So Nell says that they were friends in college and that they made movies together. And he kissed her. And the next day, the day after he kissed her, he dropped out of school and disappeared. And she has no idea what happened. And they tell her, you need some diva.
Determination, integrity, vitality, aspiration. Their words, not mine.
Basically means you need a makeover.
Yeah.
And then we see Alex again, and he's shirtless in his room, looking good. And then we have a makeover montage.
You need diva. Dick, icicles, vaginal implants. And,
implants.
And what would the A be? Aggravation.
Vaginal implants.
What are you implanting?
What's a vaginal implant?
I wouldn't worry about it.
Is it just give it extra padding?
It was the first thing that came to mind.
A vaginal implant.
Why was that the first thing that came to your mind?
That was the only thing that was the only thing that was in the clear. That was in my mind.
Kurt, you need to go on Wheel of Fortune.
Seriously.
I just want you to solve a puzzle and say vaginal implants.
I like to buy a V. I'm still going to go with vaginal implant. Vanna.
So they give her a makeover. And
Get rid of that
makeover, actually. It was a good makeover.
Well, it's a full makeover. They're trying to change her inside and out. She's a complete disgrace. They have to completely,
It was nuts, this makeover, because it wasn't just the outfits. This is all taking place over the course of what I'm assuming is like an hour. They're giving her like yoga lessons. They're giving her like journaling lessons.
Speech.
She's like a she talks. She's like, she's talking. It sounds like she's talking normal. And then Morgan Fairchild said, well, all I heard was blah, 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 blah.
And then the outfit she finally settles on is like this gorgeous, like red evening gown. And it's the middle of the day and she's still at work. What was this gown for?
Yeah. And she's like, hello, Alex.
I'm surprised she has any self-esteem after that whole experience with those ladies. Jeez.
So then she's she has a meeting with that guy from Hollywood
Tonight.
Hollywood Tonight, that cute guy from Hollywood Tonight, who really is on that show. Or he's on Access Hollywood.
Oh, is he? Okay.
He's really on Access Hollywood. And because Alex asks her to do something and she's like, oh, I can't because remember, I have that interview with Tommy.
Yeah, I'm going
with
Tommy.
And Tommy picks her up and then they go to Mr. Chow. Did you guys see that documentary about Mr. Chow?
No.
It's really good. The guy who runs Mr. Chow, who owns Mr. Chow.
Oh. No, she gets ignored by Alex. She is out the door.
Yeah.
Of a man.
And then
this is where Alex yells at the extras for fucking up because the extras are eating the prop food, or not the extras, the crew members are eating the prop food.
Right.
They broke an ornament and
eat the prop food.
Oh yeah, yeah. Can't do that.
The popcorn, the popcorn, which he did have a right to yell at the person for eating the popcorn.
I'm sorry, she was eating popcorn off the Christmas tree.
Off of it was like
a prop
box.
table, yeah.
Okay,
Like,
that's somebody.
On one hand, he has a right to yell at them, but on the other hand, they are morons and shouldn't even work in the business if they didn't know they couldn't do that already.
Yeah, and you know there's something really sad about the situation. You're eating popcorn, and if you're ever eating popcorn off a Christmas tree, you know you've had better years.
And I think he was even like, "What's wrong with you?"
Even I'd ask that. And I'm borderline eating off a Christmas tree. I think I've gotten better. That's enough about me.
So then Nell is talking. Nell is talking to the hot guy from Hollywood Tonight, and he goes up and yells at her.
Alex does.
Yeah, he's being a dick.
You dick!
And she's like, "You might be my boss, but you're not the boss of my life."
That's right.
And then, but then all the ladies are like, "Oh, he's being predictable. See, she made him jealous. Good for her." And then they do a scene with Morgan, and they make it look like Morgan Fairchild falls down the stairs, but it's actually her stunt double, because the stunt double gets up and he has a big beard.
Yeah, that was well done.
And then they're casting the pool boy. And then that was weird because a man with a suit, but then a shirtless guy came walking in the door.
I think they wrangled up some people pretty quickly.
They're just like, who around here is kind of attractive? Okay, we're going to have you walk in there because now all the ladies are going to be horny. But it was weird that only one of them was shirtless for a pool boy.
You keep your shirt on. Yeah, I had to do a scene like that. I had to do a locker room scene on Billions. And first they put me in a towel, wrapped me up in a towel. And they're like, no, let's put this other guy in a towel. You could wear a robe. Then they didn't use me at all. I had to kind of hide in the locker room. They wouldn't even let me out. I think I'm pretty hot. Of course, I was eating off a Christmas tree before that. Nobody looks at you. It's weird because when I came out in the set, just wearing a towel wrapped around me, nobody in the crew would look at me. I would just look at the people in the crew. They must get some kind of lesson in respecting actors during intimate scenes. So nobody would make eye contact with me.
So they look down?
Yeah, they just looked the other way. I assume that's why they were looking the other way. I thought they.
Well, also, you don't want to be the person that's accidentally staring. So I think you just direct your eyes down so that doesn't happen.
Right.
Yeah. I walk on the set, eyes scattered.
So then they're talking about how they have baggage and how they need to get through their baggage and makeup. And then Loni Anderson, and then they all talk about, what are we going to do about Mel and Alex? And then they all went to talk to Alex, and we find out that the reason why Alex disappeared is because his mom died.
I see.
And so that's why he dropped out of school. Oh, yeah, dead people. So then they gave Alex advice, and then it's
Nell overhear. Is it Nell or Mel?
Nell.
Okay, Nell overhears them because they basically, after they've been giving Alex advice, they've all been drinking. So now they're a little bit drunk and they've got Christmassy glasses and shit on their heads, and they're just drunk and singing really loud. And Nell hears them through her headphones and comes down to see what's going on there.
Right. And then Then the next scene, Loni catches Sue Ellen like binging on cookies.
Yeah.
And we find out that Sue Ellen likes cookies, and she basically ate all of... Loni Anderson had bought gifts for everybody, like cookies for everyone, and Sue Ellen ate them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she says, I like junk food. And then Loni Anderson gives her a pep talk. And then we find out that Loni Anderson takes her wig. We find out that Loni Anderson has been wearing a wig and that she actually has a full head of gray hair.
And it looks great.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Where they shot that was weird, though. Was she really wearing a wig? Because, you don't see her actually pulling it off.
I don't know. Because the blonde hair definitely looked like a wig in retrospect once this scene happened. I was like, oh, yeah, that's why she looked a little off. Something didn't seem right.
Oh, yeah.
And so then Nicolette's like, oh, my God, I'm going to do hair products for people with gray hair, and you could be my spokesmodel.
Nice.
And then we see Donna Mills filming a cameo.
Yeah.
And then Sue Ellen talks about how she's not perfect because of her junk food addiction. And then Morgan Fairchild starts giving away all of her jewelry. And they're like, no, you can't. It's so expensive. And then Morgan's like, no, it's not expensive. This is costume jewelry because I'm broke. And I had to sell all my real jewels because my husband embezzled all of my money.
Then somebody had a funny line. They said, poor thing, literally. So I thought that was funny.
And then Donna Mills said, oh, yeah, but you think you have problems? Well, I left the show, and when I came to Hollywood, I had to start all over again. And I had to pound the pavement and do humiliating work. And by the way, the reason why I left the show is because, Nicolette, I slept with your fiance.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And then Nicolette is like, oh, well, that's okay.
Yeah. Again, Tom and Jerry, later seasons. Like, really? You couldn't have had a slap or something, like some sort of reaction in that moment that wasn't nice, and then made it eventually nice by the end of the movie.
Because, yeah, Nicolette's like, well, that's okay because, I wouldn't have had my son, and he ended up cheating, and we ended up getting a divorce anyway.
Yeah. But I think most ladies would be pissed off. It might take a little while to arrive at that.
Yeah.
At being grateful. How about you be just as grateful if it never even happened?
So then they're doing their scene. It's Christmas Day. They're doing their scene.
Live on TV.
They're being really nice. And as they're filming, Alex looks down at Insta and they're getting a bunch of frowny faces. And he says, and the reason why is like, because they're being too nice to each other. And then Morgan Fairchild is like, they don't like it because we're being too nice to each other. And everybody's like, well, how do you know? And she's like, well, I learned how to read lips because I took over for Anne Bancroft in The Miracle.
Yeah.
That was okay. I didn't laugh out loud.
I laughed out loud at that joke. I was like, that's a solid joke.
Right.
It is. It's okay.
So she's like, they want us to be bitchy. So then they all started being bitches to each other and they had a food fight.
Yeah, they go off script on this live television production. Like,
right. How
do you time that out? Like, if SNL started actually improvising lines on the show, that show would never end.
Seriously.
You can't on SNL. You're not supposed to.
That's what I'm saying. You can't.
Lorne Michaels throw you off. Yeah, because there's director cues and they have really specific stuff lined up.
Yeah.
But I was trying to see a shot where you could see how many cameras they actually had, because they had to have at least like 3 cameras set up.
Yeah, normally on a soap there's like 3 or 4.
Yeah, you never really see more than one camera in there, unless I missed something.
So they had a food fight. Everybody loved it.
Well, Loni Anderson, she pours hot gravy on somebody's head, like scars or scalp for life.
Oh, on Nicolette.
I don't know if it was actually hot, but that is a funny visual to think that it might have been.
Right. They're not messing around. They're like, we were 80s bitches.
Get that wig back out. It's going to come in handy. Scalp is burnt off.
Right. So then it's all over. They're saying their goodbyes. They decided to start a nonprofit together.
Which is what? Because someone explained to me what exactly that nonprofit was.
It's called the Divas Foundation, and it's going to focus on underserved women of a certain age.
Yes.
Okay.
So then Alex goes and tells Nell, the reason why I left, it wasn't you. I left because my mom died, and I love you. And I love you, and blah, 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 blah. And then they get together. And then we see Hollywood Tonight. And because this Christmas special was such a hit, the Great Lakes got a reboot. And it's going to be the first reality soap opera. And Loni Anderson was nominated for an Emmy because of her brave performance of having gray hair.
Yes.
Having gray hair. Yeah, great. That's insulting.
The end.
Well,
so what is a live reality show soap opera? What the fuck does that mean?
I have no idea.
So it's Big Brother, but with these octogenarian women?
Yeah, basically.
now so I put this question at the beginning. I don't think I'm satisfied with the answer. Who was this made for? Was it made for an older generation who used to watch these people? Is it?
I legit don't know, because Lifetime's audience is normally like women probably in their 30s and 40s. Women in their 30s and 40s didn't really grow up on these women's shows. They're a little too young for that. So I don't know who this is for either.
Because I was like in my teens and 20s when this show was popular. When these shows were popular.
I didn't like it. It was hard to get through. It's certainly not something that's made from me. If I didn't have an obligation, I would have bailed on this.
Yeah.
See, I would have watched it, but I was disappointed.
I only slightly came on board when Alex took his shirt off.
Yeah. That was definitely worth it. Sorry, Kurt.
Look, Kurt, you had your moments of seeing them reminisce about craft services. I got to see a shirtless guy. All is well with the world.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. So maybe it's made for women, maybe it's made for gay men. I guess they were trying, I think. It's not, I don't know.
They were trying. I could have written a better script. If I got my hands on the script, it would have been a good movie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I hope they had fun making it.
Well, maybe they had good craft services.
Yeah. I don't know about that. Maybe. If they paid for it themselves.
Anyway, if you want to find me, you can find me on my website, leskirkendallbarrett.com. Jason.
Please rate and review us wherever you listen to your podcast. Give us 5 stars. It helps more people find the show. You can find all of us on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Lifetime of Hallmark Podcast. And you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Big Shot Jason. Kurt.
Well, the Oscars are coming, so friend of mine, friend of the show, Jason DeBray, and I are going to be doing all the Oscar nominations in the coming months on the Shelf Shedding Movie Podcast. And also in March, I'll be doing my show, The Jester of All Maladies, at the Rogue Festival. So you have a lot to look forward to in the coming months.
And you know what? I might drive up to Fresno, Kurt, just to torment you.
Okay. Yeah. And I'll try to be there a little bit longer this time.
I might just do that.
I'll be doing a production of Love Letters with Joanne Worley at the Bucks County Playhouse.
Please do. Go see that.
Did everybody pay their SAG dues today?
I paid mine a couple weeks ago so I could get my screeners.
Yes, today's the last day to pay your SAG dues so you get screeners.
I paid mine, yeah.
I saw Saltburn over the weekend, by the way. It was so good.
Really?
Saltburn, yeah.
How's that?
It's directed by Emerald Fennell, who did Promising Young Woman. And it is sort of like a... It is sort of Cruel Intentions-y meets Talented Mr. Ripley.
Oh, it does sound good.
It's really good.
I've been watching Station 11, which actually is a year or so old, maybe a few years old now, but that's on HBO Max, and I've been enjoying that.
I've been watching Squid Game: The Challenge.
I never watched Squid Game because I heard like the violence was a little bit.
I didn't either. I didn't watch the original, but I'm watching the reality show, and it's pretty good.
Oh, it's a reality show.
Anyway, well, I guess that's it. So I'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.